Good evening, all my little cubs, kits, and whatever else happens to be. Caddie here, still in my little witch garb from doing my witchy video for Halloween. And my strap is a little off. Moving into the other room. Moved a little bit. No. And today is a game thoughts. And today's thought is about a GameCube game. In fact, it's the first GameCube game I owned, and I owned it long before I owned a GameCube. I lived with a roommate who had one, so I pre-ordered this game, and eventually they decided to release it, which is good. It had a lot of delay in its release, and it's like the first time I ever pre-ordered a game, and it gets delayed. And that was back in my early 20s, so time took forever. Nowadays, like, oh, I pre-ordered the game. It's supposed to come out in February. I realized it's April. Oh, the game just came out. Yay, happy day. I wouldn't have cared. But back then, it took all of the time. And that game was Starfox Adventures. Now, I did eventually get a GameCube. In fact, I believe we own 2 of them now. And we own a Wii. So we have several ways to play this game. And I will definitely say I spent a lot of hours playing it. I enjoyed the environments. I enjoyed the characters. They were really well drawn up. I barely would call it a Star Fox game because, well, it originally wasn't going to be a Star Fox game. I wish Crystal would have had more role in the game. We got to play as her more. But I understand it was made to be a Star Fox game, so she got written to the sidelines. And the dinosaurs were pretty interesting. A lot of the quests were, I never actually finished the game, I'll be honest here. I've played it several times. I've gotten about the same far each time. There are several times quests would lock me up for a long time where I'd be kind of stuck because they weren't always like you'd be on the same mechanic, like fighting. You're not constantly just doing better at fighting. It was like, oh, and now you have to run a bobsled race. What? I don't do. When did this become Battletoads? And your annoying dino sidekick can become a bother. I, in the end, was not a big fan of Tricky. I wish he would stay back with his family and let me go out and do the adventuring because I hated hearing him whine. That's a thing. So I was pretty good with the game. I enjoyed it for as much as I played it multiple times. The graphics were really good, especially GameCube era. But I mean, even nowadays, you look back at those fur textures, and it really shows they took time and effort to make those characters look good. And that's very well appreciated. I just gotta say it was good. I love the fighter sequences reminded me more of being a Star Fox game where you're traveling between planet sections. But I can't necessarily say that really filled it in. If anything, it was a ground fighting game, mostly. The fighting in space was just kind of trivial. You're just going from point A to point B and maybe getting some points along the way or whatever. Nothing to really write home about. But I spent a lot of hours on it. I enjoyed what I did of it. I'm not mad that I got it. Would I necessarily recommend it to someone that wanted more Star Fox? No. Would I recommend it to someone that wanted more Legend of Zelda type games? Yes. It felt more like a Legend of Zelda than a Star Fox by a lot. Just you were playing as Fox McCloud as opposed to Link. So that's one good way of looking at it. And if that helps you decide whether or not it's a game to go quest to find a copy of for you, I'm glad it was helpful. It's interesting enough. I know Crystal has spawned many a furry. Fox has spawned many a furry, so there's that. But it's not one I'd necessarily say quest out to find. If you find it, cool. If it's a good price, great. And there's a plenty of other games out there, though, that could fulfill your niche and could give you your more Zelda experience that you may have been lacking at that very moment. Uh, yeah, that's about all of that. So, definitely want to thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. If you could comment and say if you played the game, if you enjoyed it, if you even heard of it. I hope you've heard of it. It's pretty common at this point. Um, and what are your feelings on it? And that's that. So, thank you for watching. Patreon link in the description below. Appreciate anything donated. It does help me supply things for the channel that make it better. So, for now, I hope you all have a fluffy, magical rest of your day, and I'll see you again real soon.